The story recap begins with a group of explorers who are in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean. There was a weather officer named David on that ship who tells about the weather. They were going towards an island which was present in the middle of the ocean. The government had sent David there so that he could observe the changing weather of that island. David had to stay there for almost a year. He had to return after collecting weather data for the whole year. David was given food for the whole year and all the necessary items. The journey took several days. After that, they finally reached the island. They landed on that island with the help of a boat. This island was completely deserted, where not even a bird was visible. There was a lighthouse and a small house on that island, where David had to stay, because even before this, a weather officer named Robert used to live here. But now his duty time was over. He lived alone on that island for a year and collected weather data. Now in his place, David will stay here for the whole year to collect weather data, and that old officer Robert went back with the ship. But when the whole team visited the house, they were surprised because there was no trace of any human being there. All the belongings of the old officer were scattered here and there inside the room, after which the captain and David thought that maybe there could be someone in the lighthouse. Captain and David, without wasting time, move towards the lighthouse, and they all see a strange sight there. They see that the entire lighthouse was surrounded by sharp and pointed woods, as if someone had deliberately closed it so that no one could go inside. After which, the captain and David knocked the gate of the lighthouse many times, but did not get any response from inside. Finally, he pushed the gate hard and entered inside. Inside the lighthouse, he found a man named Gruner. When he asked Gruner about the old weather officer Robert, he replied that he had died. He went towards the sea, but never returned. Both David and the captain were shocked to hear Gruner's words. After hearing all this, the captain said to David that if you still want, you can come back with us. But David refused to go back. David thought that if he could give accurate weather report of that island to the government, he could get a huge amount of money. After which, the captain gave him a gun for his own protection, and the captain told David that this place does not seem safe to me. Take care of yourself. After this, leaving him there, they all went back, and now they will come back again after a year. After the captain left, David settled the house a bit, made it livable. After nightfall, he found a diary in the drum which belonged to the old weather officer Robert. In that diary, a lot was written about the island. Some things were written about a mysterious creature in the diary, but everything was not clear. Some things were incomplete. David read every line carefully. There were also sketches of some strange animals in that diary. David did not understand why he had made such pictures. Maybe he was lonely and did this to pass time. There was also a photo of the wife of an old officer on one page of the diary. David got tired of reading that diary, and slowly he fell asleep. The next morning, David saw the weather data. He started collecting them, but as soon as he reached the sea, his steps stopped. He saw that some stones among the rocks were arranged in a strange way, and shells were kept between them. Seeing the strange pattern, David thought that maybe Gruner had done all this. Thinking this, he again got busy with his work. While working, when he looked towards the lighthouse through the binoculars, he saw another person along with Gruner, but in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. David tried to see him again, but then he thought that it was his illusion. At night, David got busy with his work. Then there was a knock on the door. He thought that maybe it was Gruner. David called his name, but got no response. As soon as David moved towards the door with the lamp in his hand, he heard some strange sounds which were not of any human at all, and then he saw that the hand of some strange creature was trying to come inside from under the gate. It was not a human hand at all. Seeing this, the ground slipped under David's feet. He immediately ran towards the basement and hid there. In a short while, that mysterious creature entered the house. She was secretly looking for David, and David started watching her from a small crack in the basement. The creature saw David due to David's movement. After that, the creature ran towards David to kill him and tried to catch him from the crack. So to save himself, David immediately picked up a knife and stabbed it in the eye. The creature ran away screaming, but she could come back any time, and it was confirmed in David's mind that what was written about Crutcher in the diary was true. He could not sleep the whole night due to fear. Next, in the morning when David went out of the house, he saw some footprints on the sand which were not of any human being. Those footprints went straight towards the sea and ended. Now David understood why Gruner had put sharp wooden logs around the lighthouse. Now David knew that if I stay in this house, then those Crutchers can kill me anytime. Out of fear, David runs towards the lighthouse and shouts at Gruner to open the gate. I want to come inside. But Gruner does not let him in and says, you should have returned with the ship. David disappointed. He returns because Kroner doesn't want him anywhere near the lighthouse. He throws water on him and tells him to go away. Now he has to do something himself. He blocks every window in the house with wood, builds a fence with sharp sticks, and places old papers and books outside the gate. Then he sprinkles oil on them so that if Crutcher comes back, he can be scared away by fire. But there was one thing David didn't know till now, and he was going to find out tonight. Luckily, he found an old wood inside the house. He found a box. There was a gun and a lot of bullets in that box. Seeing this, he got a little hope of staying alive. As the sun started setting, fear started increasing in David's heart, and in a short time, darkness of night engulfed everything. David was sitting quietly in a corner of the house with the gun in his hand. His heart was beating fast. Then a strange sound was heard, and when David hid behind the window and looked towards the sea, it was as if the ground slipped from under his feet. He saw that not just one, but many of the same strange creatures were coming towards him from the water. In a short while, they all gathered and tried to break the door of the room. David immediately started firing bullets, some of which fell down and died. David thought that after hearing the bullet sound, they would run away in fear. But seeing his companions dying, they became even more angry. Then David followed the plan and set fire to the papers and old books kept outside the gate. Seeing the fire, those creatures returned to the sea in fear. But now the same fire had reached David's house. The door of the house caught fire and slowly started spreading because the whole house was made of wood. David immediately saved his life by wrapping himself in a sheet and went out and hid behind a big rock near the lighthouse. While shooting the creatures, David also got a very deep injury in his hand. Then suddenly, heavy rain started. The fire started to extinguish slowly, but even after the rain throughout the night, David could not save his house till morning. The whole house was almost burnt to ashes. Now, if David wants to stay alive, he will have to take shelter in the lighthouse. He picked up his rifle and hid himself between the rocks near the lighthouse. He hid and waited for Gruner to come to fetch water. When Gruner came out of the lighthouse to fetch water, David followed him, but then suddenly a strange creature which was near Gruner attacked David, but somehow David controlled it. That creature was Gruner's protector. When he was about to shoot it, Gruner immediately stopped David and said, "Stop, it is my pet." David did not shoot, and taking advantage of the opportunity, he placed a bet with Gruner. If this creature is taken alive, then he will have to pay the price of his pet. If you want to keep it, then let me stay in the lighthouse. Otherwise, I will kill it. After which, Gruner said yes, because David had a lot of food and gunpowder. Before evening, both of them returned to the lighthouse with the remaining food, and both of them slept comfortably. The next morning, that creature was quietly licking David's hand. When David woke up from sleep, he saw that his hand had completely healed due to the licking of this creature. David was surprised to see all this. David now wanted to know more about this creature from Gruner, and then he wanted to tell all this to the world. David wanted to reveal the secret of this creature to the world, because it was nothing less than magic. David thought that if we reveal the secret of this creature to the world, then both David and Kroner will earn a lot of money and fame. But Kroner did not want any of this. He did not want to leave this island. Kroner had no one left in this world now. This island was perfect for him, where he considered himself a king and the master of his own will. That's why he had written in many parts of the island that Kroner is the king here. But David was not able to understand that. How did this strange creature become useless to Kroner? So Kroner told that once Kroner had saved its life, it got caught in his fishing net by mistake. This creature was small then, and from that day onwards, it stayed with Kroner. It started obeying everything he said, but Kroner was a strict person. He used to treat this creature very badly. Kroner used to have physical relations with this creature every day. Kroner told that once this creature had even attacked me, and in return, Kroner punished it in such a way that after that punishment, the creature started fighting on its own. David started considering him a slave of Kroner, and you all must have understood why those creatures come out of the sea every night. They all come to rescue their companions from Kroner, and take them back. But Kroner does not let this happen. Those creatures cannot attack in daylight because sunlight burns their skin. David did not want to live here anymore. He wanted to escape from the island somehow. Anyway, it started getting dark, and Kroner told him to get ready with his gun because those creatures can attack anytime. They got ready to turn on the light of the lighthouse, and in a short while, a large number of creatures came out of the sea. They were moving towards the lighthouse. Kroner was continuously firing at them, but David was completely scared. He started coming inside the lighthouse. Despite Kroner's repeated requests, he just sat quietly in a corner, and in a short while, David fainted. Kroner kept fighting these creatures alone the whole night. The next morning, Kroner woke David up by pouring water on his face in anger and said, "If you want to stay alive, you will have to kill them. Otherwise, you will be thrown out of the lighthouse, and you will have to obey my every command. Bring water every day. Do small and big tasks of the lighthouse, and also do guard duty with me at night." Now, David did not have any other option. Because of this, doing all this became his compulsion. David now started obeying everything Kroner said, but there was one thing that he did not like at all, and that was that every day that female creature had to be physically tortured in different ways. It is night. Both again for guard duty. They get ready, and once again the Crutchers come out of the sea. But today David was not afraid. He started firing at Crutcher. But today Kroner was not doing anything. He left David outside and closed the gate of the lighthouse, and himself sat inside quietly so that David could learn how to fight these creatures. In this way, the night passed while David was fighting, and it became morning. In the morning, Kroner saw that David was sitting outside the gate of the lighthouse, soaked in blood. Now he had learned how to fight these creatures. We have to fight. Time passed like this. Fighting these creatures at night and handling the work of Kroner's lighthouse during the day, this island had become like a closed house for him. He always kept thinking when he would leave this place and take a breath of freedom. With time, David had developed a strange friendship with that female creature. David started feeling bad for her. Now he understood how difficult it is to live alone after leaving your people. Perhaps that creature also felt something like this. David also gave that creature a name, Anarius. Days passed like this, and then one day they noticed that the attacks of these creatures were gradually decreasing. David thinks that maybe they go somewhere else in winter, or maybe they had understood that nothing would be gained by fighting with these two. But Kroner told him that this is not the case at all. They will attack again. Now they are increasing their numbers. A few more days passed like this. One night after dinner, Kroner and David started playing chess to pass time. But this is where Kroner made a big mistake. Both of them got so engrossed in the game that they forgot to switch on the lights of the lighthouse. Taking advantage of the darkness, the creatures attacked them. David saw that the number of creatures was so high that even two people together could not fight for long, and this time they did not have any planning. Gun's bullets were also almost over. Somehow they managed to reach the top of the lighthouse. But in the meantime, Kroner got a deep injury in his leg. Those creatures had overpowered them today. Both of them thought that their death was certain today, but luckily it was morning. As soon as the sun rose, David saw that the creatures were on the top of the lighthouse. Slowly, the creatures leave the lighthouse and go back to the sea. After the scorching sun comes out, Anarius tries to heal Kroner's wounds. But by now, David had realized that he cannot win this battle with these creatures. The bullets are also about to finish. They also do not have enough food to last for long. Luckily, the next day, when David was roaming around outside the lighthouse, he saw a ship in the sea. He quickly brought the flare gun from inside and went to signal the ship. But Kroner stopped him because he did not want David to leave. At that moment, Anarius attacked Kroner. She wanted to save David from Kroner. Kroner did not want anyone to leave this island. This island was his own world where he lived like a king. He did not want to let David go either. After being alone for so long, now he had someone to talk to, and if David went back to that ship, he would go there and tell everyone about Anarius and them. So now David cannot leave from here. Slowly, the ship disappeared in the sea in front of David's eyes. Now he had nothing to do. A few more days passed like this. Kroner was still treating both David and Anarius badly, but he used to beat Anarius in particular, which David did not like at all. One day, David gifted Anarius a small toy boat which he had made from the bone of a fish. But when Anarius saw that boat, it took David to a corner of the island where a real boat was actually kept. When David asked Kroner about this boat, he said yes, he already knew that there was a boat in this part of the island. Kroner says that some people had come to this island by boat to save their lives, but none of them survived before morning. Everyone was killed by these creatures. They were all carrying ammunition in the ship, but due to a storm in the sea, their ship sank near this island. On hearing all this, an idea came to David's mind. He had something like a diving suit. David said that if any one of us wears that suit and goes to that part of the sea, then we will be able to reach the sea. If they go to the place where the ship sank, they might find some bullets or dynamite, which will make it easier to fight these creatures. But Kroner refused to accept this, but David was ready to do this by risking his life. A few more days passed like this. A deep connection developed between David and Anarias. David started liking him. Kroner secretly saw them romancing. Kroner felt that Anarias would snatch him away. Therefore, David had to be removed from the way. The next day, Kroner himself went to David's house to talk to him. He agrees to accept. He tells David that, okay, you will wear the suit and go down in the water and collect a lot of RDX. Then I will pull you up with the boat. But Kroner's real intention was something else. He wanted David to bring the dynamite boxes kept under the sea to the surface with his help, and then leave him alone in the sea so that those creatures kill him. In this way, the dynamite will also come to him, and Anarias will again become his slave. Both of them sat in the boat and reached the place where the ship was submerged in water. David wore a diving suit and went down to the sea. After going down, David saw that the ship was completely destroyed, but he was lucky that he found some boxes of dynamite. But then, suddenly some creatures appeared in front of him. David got scared on seeing the creatures and fell down. That driving suit was so heavy that he was unable to move, and David was unable to send a signal to Kroner. Kroner thought that maybe those creatures had killed David, but in reality, they were just two small children. David somehow left his diving suit there and reached the surface. There, he found some old boxes which contained dynamite. After this, both of them got to work. They laid dynamite in 2 layers around the lighthouse so that when the next attack happens, they can destroy the monsters in one go. Some months passed, and the snowfall season came, but once again, those creatures disappeared. Suddenly, the attacks had stopped, as if the creatures had got the news that a trap has been laid for them. That is why they are not attacking now. Kroner thought that maybe Anarias had warned those creatures, due to which he started torturing Anarias, but David stopped him. Finally, both of them together made a new plan to leave the main gate of the lighthouse open so that as soon as those creatures came near, they could be blown up with dynamite. David used his cleverness and asked Anarias to scream on the top of the lighthouse. On hearing Inara's voice, all the creatures got angry. When the creatures saw that the main gate of the lighthouse was open, they thought this is a good opportunity to free Anarias. But actually, it was a trick for them. In a short while, those creatures started coming out of the sea. They headed straight towards the main gate and attacked David as soon as he entered. David also shows courage and frees himself from the creatures. As soon as all those creatures reach the lighthouse, Kroner presses the lever of the dynamite, but there is no blast. Actually, David had opened its connection, and Kroner had forgotten to put it back. David immediately runs up and connects the wire of the dynamite. By then, those creatures are trying to climb the lighthouse. They are stopped only by Kroner alone. As soon as the connection is complete, David blows up the first layer, due to which many creatures are destroyed in the blast. But still, many monsters are ready to attack the lighthouse. Due to this, Kroner blasts the second layer as well. Both of them faint in that powerful blast. Next morning, when both of them regained consciousness, they saw that Anarias was not there. Dead creatures were all around in the blast. Kroner was killing all those who were still alive in an injured state. Then David's eyes fell on a necklace hanging around the neck of one of them. Seeing that creature writhing in pain, David felt pity for it and realized his mistake. The creatures that he had considered dangerous till now were also like humans. They just couldn't speak, but all this was useless for Kroner. After that day, those creatures were never able to attack again. But every day, sounds of crying came from the seashore. David did not know till now how much damage they had caused, how many families were broken, how many children lost their loved ones, just because of a misunderstanding. The next day, David saw some small children of those creatures in the sea, all those who had lost their families. David made a round circle of stones and kept that small toy boat in the middle of it so that Enris would see it and come back. David waited for many hours, but Enris never returned. In the morning after waking up from sleep, David saw that Kroner was sleeping. Kroner had some old things kept near him. There was also an old photo among them, and as soon as he saw Kroner, he saw that Kroner was sleeping. David was shocked to see that photo. The girl whose photo he had seen in the diary of old Officer Robert on the first day. She was none other than Kroner's wife, and Kroner was standing with her in the photo. Actually, Weather Officer Robert, who had come a year ago, did not die, but he had changed his identity. That means Kroner is Weather Officer Robert. He just changed his name because now he never wanted to leave this island. Seeing all this, David also gave up the hope that he would ever be able to leave this island. Next day evening, when David was standing on the seashore, when David went to the sea, he saw that the small boat kept in that circle was no longer there. But at the same place, he saw a small child of a creature who was holding that boat in his hands. David threw the burning wood in his hand in the middle of that circle so that he could show that he did not intend to fight and that no one should feel threatened. He wanted to make friends with them. After some time, Honoris comes out of the waves of the sea, and behind her, the whole group of creatures also comes out of the sea. But this time, no one attacks David because they too are now at peace. They wanted to stay in the house. Their intention was just to get a safe place for their children. But then Kroner reaches there with a gun in his hand. Kroner thinks that if there is peace, then how will he feel on top? David tries to explain to him that these creatures do not want to fight. They want peace. But Kroner does not listen to anyone. He shouts at Anirius and tells him to go inside. But this was the first time that Anirius did not listen to him, because now she was not his maid. Seeing this, Kroner feels that now he has no control on this island. The kingship is no more. Kroner starts feeling weak from within, because now no one was obeying his orders. In anger, he steps towards the lighthouse. David thought that maybe Kroner must have understood now that every animal wants freedom. No one wants to live as someone's slave. But how was the ghost of kingship going to leave Kroner's head? As soon as he reached the lighthouse, he fired a flare from the signal gun which went straight and hit a Crutcher's child. That child died instantly. All the creatures ran away in fear, and Enrius even lost all his trust in David. Mad with anger, David immediately runs towards the lighthouse to teach Kroner a lesson. David starts fighting with him. Why did you do all this? These people just wanted peace, but Kroner had become so violent that he decided to kill David. As soon as he was going to attack David with an iron rod in his hand, David called him by his real name and said, "Stop, Robert, you are not a murderer." Hearing this, Kroner stopped immediately. In reality, Robert was never such a person. After coming to this island, he started living alone. His mental health had deteriorated because of this. Loneliness, his wife's death, and deep depression had made him like this. He was not a killer in reality. He was a good person. Kroner realized that these creatures never wanted to fight. They just wanted peace. Kroner killed them just so that he could show himself as powerful. And now Kroner had realized his mistake. That is why he surrendered himself to those creatures, and in a few moments, they killed him. David locks himself inside the lighthouse. After a year, a government officer comes to the island. There is also a new weather officer with him. Now, the new government officer had to do the duty of weather monitor on this island. When the captain asks David about the previous officer, David also says the same thing, that he went towards the water but never returned, and the weather officer also thinks that David is Kroner. David also did not correct this misunderstanding of his. He quietly went to the balcony and stood there without saying anything, because now he also does not want to leave this island. He was just like Kroner. Meanwhile, Anris was happy with her family. Now they were not afraid of a man like Kroner. Now they could live freely on the island and in the sea.